ba, 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 ba. Good evening, everybody. I'm just making sure I've done this correctly. I preloaded, yes, preloaded all of my postings to make this very easy. And I am executing those posts as well as I speak, I guess I should say. There we go. Nice and easy. Okay. Put that right there. Now let me go to Discord and fire. And fire. Oh, whatever, that's fine. And fire. I'm in a lot of places here. Fire. And one more. There we go. Okay, I believe I've covered every little thing now. As far as I know. Yeah, I think we are good. And yeah, we are. Okay, so live stream running. Okay, I can go ahead and change. Or sorry, I can close Discord. I want to just check. I do show it is streaming. Excellent. Yes, it is going. All right, so I can turn my keyboard off for the moment. Unless somebody comes into the chat, which I'm not expecting, because it generally doesn't happen much anymore. Perfectly fine, just saying. If that happens, I will turn my keyboard back on. There we go. Use your words, Joey. Couldn't remember the word for keyboard. Okay. I think on the 2 streams back, I said I was going to do something a little different. Oh, I know what I was going to do differently. Well, okay, I couldn't remember for the life of me what I was going to do differently until literally just now. And the thing that I'm going to do differently actually fits perfectly in... Why isn't... Hold on. Sorry, my reflector has decided to not show up. So give me a minute. Let me relaunch it. I was going to do a inverted black and white, where I was going to do the image mostly in white, and then the black would be the, the opposite. You usually see a white background with the black lines. I was going to do the inverse. Well, not because, or maybe it was subconscious. Maybe I knew this. I want to do a classic D&D monster. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, like I guess most of the planet at the moment. Quite enjoying it. It really is. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. I never did. I never played it. I knew people who played. Well, I'm going to get a quick sip of water here. But I never played myself. There we go. Let me make sure that my mic is... The only thing I don't like about... I don't like that there doesn't appear to be a way to move, as far as I can tell. Yeah, in the audio mixer... For what's the word for it? For OBS, there isn't a way that I can figure out where you can rearrange the order of the meters. And the only bad part about that is that it makes it tough for me to see at a glance whether the mic is actually running. But it is, I can see it. Yeah, because actually what I can probably do is I can probably expand this a bit. Geez, I have to expand that so much. But you know what? That's okay. I don't really need a big view of the actual... I know what the image is. Anyway, okay. So anyway, sorry. I have been playing Baldur's Gate 3, which is essentially a Dungeons and Dragons video game, which is great because that lets me... basically, the biggest experience I've had with Dungeons and Dragons is this. And I've been meaning for a while... I will show you something before we do the main image. I have been meaning for a while now to do what's called the Beholder from Dungeons and Dragons, which is a it's a classic monster. In fact, what most people, whether they know it or not, have probably encountered it in terms of pop culture, is my understanding is, unless this is incorrect, that it was the basis for it looks like it is, or an inspiration point, shall we say, for the monster with all the eyes in Big Trouble in Little China, John Carpenter's film with Kurt Russell from, oh boy, what year is that? Is it 88? I'm probably wrong. The year is probably wrong. I didn't look it up. But anyway, that's what most people would probably know the beholder archetype from. But it actually is it's from far earlier than that. So I've kind of wanted to do that, and I'm going to do it as a mostly shadowed image because I'm going to take a break from doing color on my magic proofs for a while because people have said they like black and white. So I'm actually going to do some monotone or black and white ones, maybe some grayscale, but definitely no heavy color. Okay, so let me show you this first because I've gotten pretty far on this, and I'm pretty happy with it. So let's go ahead and do our little animation thing here. So give that a minute. Oh, while that's happening, where is the... Oh boy, am I going to be able to do this fast enough? I didn't do it fast enough, sorry. Where is the... where is the... Hold on. Where is my... Oh, Reflector Capture. I forgot I renamed it. Sorry about that. Let me say Application, and it is Reflector. I tried to do that really fast in the background, and as expected, I was unsuccessful. Why are you not able to... Oh, boom. There we go. Well, that kind of worked. All right. I don't need that. Thank you. All right. This is the Shodan image, which I was working on the last stream. And I just went ahead and kept working on it because I had some free time. So, but I couldn't stream it at the time. But as you can see, all the lines are in there. So it is a lot of lines, But I am happy with where it is. So now I've just, as you can see, just started to do color. And these aren't even final colors. This is just going to be kind of a breakdown. But boy, oh boy. Oh, is that a lot of line work. And there's still spaces where I'm probably going to add some more lines in there. So it's not completely done, but it's pretty done. Anyway, let me see what the images are. Bear with me for one moment where I find... Okay. So this is the actual cards. So what I want to do... I thought I had a single version of this somewhere. 5x7. Yeah, that's probably it. This, I believe, is a... Yeah, because 2.5. It's 5. Yeah, so this is... Okay, this will work. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to duplicate this out. I'm going to basically make a copy of this. And I'm just going to wipe out all the layers on it. Okay. Just get all this out of here. But this will be my template for the beholder image. Jeez, I gotta get rid of a lot of stuff in here because this is basically twice the size of an actual card. So I'm just going to do the sketch here. There we go. Okay, let's go over to our pencil. Now the beholder is essentially a circle, an orb with a giant central eye, and then usually a very toothy mouth, and a what's the word for it? And eye stalks. So let's do the basic. Sorry, I'm yawning. I don't know why. Oh, let me click this just in case anybody... I can't see the chat from that other window. I don't expect anything, but... so how do I want to... Let's start with a simple circle. Okay, not with that. Let's use the pencil, please. Pencil! Thank you. So we'll do a nice pencil or just a simple circle. Nothing too impressive there. Probably not going to end up being that big either. Yeah, I think it's a little large for what I want to do because I need room for the eye stalks. So let's central it there. And now sometimes you'll see it where the stalks are on all over the place. Sometimes people put them only on the top. I think I'm going to do them mostly on the top and maybe a few on the bottom. But this is the basics of it. So there's the actual body, more or less. Let's go ahead and give it an eye. You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and do a symmetry on that. Let's do symmetry on that so we can keep that eye looking correct. So we'll have the eye coming up like this. Now, eyes can be all different types too. I've seen many different versions of what the eye looks like. There's no real... the nice part about this is there is no single version of this creature. So there's some nice room to play around, but we'll do that. And it's going to have a mouth, and I think I'm going to give it kind of a smiling, crooked mouth. So something like this that curls up and then comes down, and then there'll be teeth inside of there. I'm not going to make the teeth symmetrical because I think that part, having, teeth that are off is fine. So now let's go ahead and we'll have this like it's looking down. So make a circle. Oh, I made it too much of an ellipse. I made it so much of a non-circle that the program said, yeah, I'd give up on that. I'm not going to even bother trying to fix that for you. So we want the eye to be looking down, kind of like that. Not down, but maybe at you. Let's go ahead and erase where we don't need the eye. There we are. So that's the eye. And then I'm going to... So basically, all this background is eventually going to be black, just so you have an idea of what's going on here. And let's do another circle in here, and we'll do our kind of inner eye. I've seen many versions of the inner eye, too. Jeez, I kind of placed that really well. That's rare. I usually don't place the inside that well. Okay. Well, don't complain. Just run with it. I've seen people do like... Oh, I didn't duplicate it. Sorry. There we go. I've seen people do like a cat's eye in the middle. I've seen lots of different versions, but essentially we'll just leave that for now because that's the simple eye. And what I want to do is have the tentacles mostly be coming out of black. So, in other words, I don't want you to just see every bit of the image. I want to have it where it's like kind of materializing out of here. And there's the eye stalk, right? And then there's one. So most of them should be kind of coming out of the background. That's my idea for it. That's what I want to do. Well, in fact, I guess I can just start doing it so I can sketch them out. So let's do, I don't know, how many do I want to do? 1, 2, 3. I can do like 8 maybe. So we'll have something coming. So if you imagine, it'll be coming from back here, and then it comes up, and then there's the eye stalk. And like I said, there's all different variants on this creature, but a lot of them have the eye stalks. Hey, new gamer 385 underscore YT, the new gamer 385 underscore YT. I don't know how I'm supposed to, I'm terrible at this, so I don't know if I'm supposed to, I don't know, am I supposed to ask what your name is? Or I can just call you TNG 385 YT. Whatever. Actually, you don't have to give anything. Thank you for saying hello. That's enough. Most people don't, so you don't have to say anything else. That's fine. Perfectly fine. You can say as much or as little as you want. You don't have to say anything. Because like I said, I don't even usually... Gamer, thank you for stopping by and thank you for saying hello. Perfectly fine. That works for me. I'm not going to tell anybody they have to say anything in the stream. You do whatever you want. Alright, let's see. You know what I'm going to do is... I do want the eye stalks to be somewhat consistent. So... I'm actually just happy that the chat thing works because I haven't done a lot of it with OBS, so I'm just glad the thing's actually working. Because, you know, half the time when I start stuff, I'm not sure if it's going to work at all. Alright, let's put an eye there. We'll do some... not going to make these all the same. Kind of vary these a little bit. So we'll do 4 stalks on each side. Yep. And let's do now, we're going to do some smaller ones. Not too much smaller, though. So these will be a little bit more up front. Let's put one there. Let's put one down there. And, okay, where's that one? Okay, so we'll put that one maybe like that. We don't want them to be lined up either. And we'll put one more over here. Yeah. Yeah. You know, yeah. There's lots of stuff I like that Apple does. But it's just like anything else. It has as many bad things as it has good things. It's just that simple. Just that simple. Let's see. Okay, so let's go ahead. I don't even think I'm going to need that. Well, let's leave it off for now. Let's go ahead and see how we want to do this. So... these are the ones that are going to kind of emerge out of nowhere, so we're not going to see that much of these. But we'll just go ahead and do something like that. Okay. And we'll do one on this side because there's really no reason not to. There we go. Have that stalk coming out. Okay. Batteries die away. That's my switch to... yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is that you can't replace batteries on anything anymore. I'm of an age where I remember replacing batteries all the time because I'm older. So now everything is sealed, and I mean, I will give Apple credit. They do appear to have done a lot of work in getting battery optimization to work well. But you know, like I said, I don't fall on one side of the camp or the other because there's people who are really diehards on one or the other. And the reality is, all these computing devices are just tools, and whatever tool works best for what you're. Oh, it's not very zoomed in. There you go. Whatever tool works best for what you're doing, that's the one you should stick with. But I remember when I was younger, this whole thing where people were like, "Oh no, there's nothing better for creators than Apple products," and it was nonsense. I've said this before, so I apologize if I'm repeating to anybody who watches this. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Oh yeah. Well, hey, I still do that. There's still a lot of stuff that takes double A's. It's astonishing because you think about it. Probably one of the you get so used to batteries just being around, but man, so much stuff relies on batteries. It's crazy. Because you imagine if there was actually some kind of battery shortage. Oh boy, would that not be great for lots of things. Okay, wrap that up there. Well, these can overlap because they're not on the same layer, so I don't really care. Okay, so that's the... Did I do two stalks? But they're not intersecting. No, we're good. We're okay. And then these are the ones that you're actually going to see coming off the creature. So I got to kind of plan these a little bit, where these will be coming off. So we'll do something like that, and something like that. Okay. And like, I mean, I haven't really looked. I know the basics of the creature, but I didn't want to look too close to anybody's stuff because I don't want to imitate too much. I like the idea of just kind of coming up with whatever I'm coming up with. But I did look to see the basics of, to make sure it didn't have, like hands or something, which it does not. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Some people have drawn Beholder with some kind of arms or something. But I'm not going to do that. So what we're going to do is, where are those? Here. So see, like this, you're not going to see past a certain point. It's going to be blacked out. Like this is going to be blacked out down here. That won't last long. Making, well, you know what we honestly need is we need some kind of advancement in batteries. The batteries that we have now are just not really great. So, and there are people working on it. It just hasn't. But I agree. There's lots of things. Hold on, I think I'm gonna cough. Let me mute for a second. There we go. There's lots of stuff that I look at and I don't think people have thought out what the implications are necessarily. Batteries are one. Wait, did I do it on the right layer? I probably did not. I did not. The over-computerization of cars is another one. But, then I just sound like an old man yelling at the clouds. So I just keep my mouth shut. But, yeah, I get to some degree why they do certain things. I mean, there's the whole dust and water resistance thing, and that's absolutely going to be, that is something that for some people is the bigger priority. I just kind of wish you had options. That's really all I would really change is, fine, you want to do the sealed batteries that you can put underwater for 30 minutes because some people like to go swimming and take pictures. All this, fine. I'm not going to tell you shouldn't have that. But I'd like to have a phone where I can take the battery out and replace it. And if that means that it's less dust resistant, then I'll do exactly what I do now, which is, not that you can see me holding it up, I have a case on my phone, which protects it from most things, But I know a lot of people don't use cases. They walk around with their stuff caseless. And I don't really understand that either. Oh, wait a minute, did I do this again? No, I did it right. Wow. Okay. So now I need this. Which is fine. Like I said, I'm not telling anybody they shouldn't use their technology however they want to use it. Unlike many manufacturers, I'm not telling you how you have to use something. But I would like the options. Kind of like how I love the camera in the OnePlus 7 Pro. I did play the games. Well, I'll tell you, I'll just be honest with you. As somebody who grew up playing the games in the 80s, because I am an 80s kid. I mean, technically I'm a late 70s kid, but the 70s were pretty much over by the time I was born. So I'll just say 80s. The 80s stuff, a lot of that nostalgia for games specifically, kind of misses me, except when you get to like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo. But Atari, I've gone back and played those games. I don't enjoy them. I don't. They don't hold up. They're terminally boring. I remember playing them as a kid and they were great, but that's because you had nothing else. But now Atari stuff doesn't work for me. I know some people who love that, so that's fine. Again, it's not me telling anybody that they have to like the stuff I like, but I tried to play Atari games not too long ago, and I was struggling. Whereas, yeah, Nintendo games, I can play those all the time. Sure. And, you know, not to say every... Oh, whoops. I didn't realize I had linked those layers. Hold on, I gotta get rid of that. Switch over to the paintbrush. Not to say that every Nintendo game was a winner, although I tend... In terms of games, yeah, I'm with you on that if you're talking about games, because when was the... Well, you know what? Every era has certain things. I shouldn't say it like that. It's really not a uniform thing. Every era has things that are better about it. Because the 80s, you know, obviously was really defining video games as something that people were into. So you really, you know, Nintendo and everything else. There's a lot of stuff that wouldn't have happened without Nintendo and Sega. So there's that. But then you move over to, like, you know, the N64, and you know what? I don't think I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that off. Is that a copy? Yeah, I'm getting rid of that. Okay. Yeah, so it all depends. There is no definitive better or worse of anything, really. It's just shades of preferences from different times and what you grew up with, that type of thing. Because like I said, there's certain things I don't get. Where I'm like, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that, but it wasn't that great. No. Certainly don't miss friggin' snap bracelets. Although that came back, I think, for a little while, too. It's like, why? These were a dumb idea to begin with. But in terms of video games, yeah, you know, like Metroid and stuff like that, there's a lot of genre-defining stuff that happened. Sorry, that's my phone. Telling me that the gamer is now following me. Thank you! Usually when that thing goes off, it's for some spam whatever. But that's actually a good news thing for once. Or something worth actually reading an email for, I guess I should say. Okay, so each of these eyes, we're going to go ahead and create a smaller orb for the inside just to have some shorthand on it. So we'll move these around. No, don't delete it. I'm just playing around. Because this is basically sketch stuff, so I'm not too worried about making it too strict or refined. Okay. Have that one looking that way. And we'll have another one that's looking maybe upwards. Okay. Very good. And let's see. And the creatures usually have, the body of it usually has some kind of texture. So it will not be this perfectly round circle the whole time. That will go away. All right, now for the big eyes, let's go ahead and make a socket for them too. Or whatever, an oculus, I guess. Whatever the term is for that. Well, there's a hair on it here. Dog hair. I'm not going to say from where. Staring at my dog as she lays in the hallway, pretending that I'm not talking about her. You know I am. Yeah, she knows. Okay. You know what? I think those other eyes are a little big. Let's see. Oh, now she sits up. Uh-huh. Dang, I think those are a little too large. They don't look proportionally good to me. So we'll just do that. Actually, what we'll do is we'll do this, we'll do this, and we'll do this, and we'll do this. Move that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Have that one looking up. Actually, no, I had that one looking kind of that way. That's better. Otherwise, it starts to look a little cross-eyed. Which I don't think... I mean, I don't know. With a monster like this, I guess it really doesn't matter, but that's not what I'm aiming for. So let's just do that. Okay. But I mean, this is a... Slime! Ooh, that's not a bad idea. You know what? How do you say that? I am not opposed to good input from the outside. Let's put the slime... Let's slime up the mouth. Because actually, that'll be a nice contrast on the bottom where I wanted to have it mostly in shadow. So what we can do is we can just run a little bit of slime off of here. It's a good idea, though. Thank you. We'll run some here. Have that coming up. And then we can have it kind of dripping off. So we'll do some of this. Because I want to have most of this down here anyway in shadow. So the slime can allow me to have some contrast on that. So that's a good suggestion. Thank you. All right. That, okay, well, I think I'm a little too crazy with that one. Hold on. I don't want it to be that much repeating. Okay, so we'll do this. And I always like to have a little kind of that type of thing. There we go. Yeah. Okay. This coming up like that. Yep. I'll do it. Okay, I'll have this come over here and it'll ring around, and there we go. And okay, this coming up. And we'll do a little bit more there because there's not going to be anything here. So a little bit more coming off there. We're going to straighten that. That doesn't look right. Yeah, that's why I should have. No, it's a good point. You're right. And I think I have seen this creature with slimy mouth, which I don't always like, especially when it's something like Venom, where they went crazy with the slime mouth. And I didn't like that. I liked Venom better when he was just a lot of teeth and a little bit of slime, but they just made him into a drool creature. And I feel like they went a little overboard on that. Not for my taste, let's put it that way. But a creature like this, which I agree, should have some degree of gooiness to it. So we will do that. And we'll have a little bit of coming off of here. And that's probably good. There we go. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I have no issue with that. Good suggestion. Okay, we can turn the grid off now. Okay, so we've got some slime happening in there. Let's get back to the eyeballs. That's the nice part about doing sketch stuff, is it doesn't have to look exactly... If you get a suggestion, it's easy to incorporate it. Because nothing is set in stone. Which is good. I'll have an eye looking up there. And we'll do another one. And we'll move that one to there. Okay. And these are the big, yeah, so I think that's the big orbs. So let's go ahead and toss. Whoop. I knew it was gonna do that. Throw this down here. We'll have that one looking over. Do one more. And we'll have that one looking over as well. Well. Yeah, I haven't even added the teeth yet. Yeah, because I am going to give it the sharp teeth that I've seen a lot of them. I mean, I could do... God, the whole circles. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the sharp teeth. I have seen people doing like the... Because I just talked about the early Venom teeth where it's kind of like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Like that. But I don't like that. That's not really what I expected of something like this. This is something where I expect to have, lots of sharp teeth. This type of thing where they're coming through and they're not all even, they don't line up necessarily, but the idea of it's gotta have teeth. Yeah, it can't just be an empty mouth. No, there's teeth on this thing. It's gonna have teeth. Yes. I don't think it looks as scary without them. I think the teeth have to be there. Yeah. To me. Yeah, I like the teeth. I don't know that I've seen a version that didn't have teeth now that I think about it. I think that every beholder I've seen has had some kind of tooth situation. I mean, I don't think they had normal teeth like this. I think they were always sharp teeth. Although, honestly, huh. Huh. That doesn't look it doesn't look as terrible as I expected it to. Having normal teeth. Jeez, maybe I like the normal teeth better. Huh. Wow. You know what? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Since I have this ability to do it, I'm going to do one set of teeth with the sharp teeth. Okay, well, that's not sharp. It's got to be sharp there. Doofus. All right. So I'll do a set of sharp teeth. Like this. Yeah. And then I'll do a set of normal teeth, because those didn't look terrible, honestly. They looked all right. Maybe it's because they look so normal in a thing like this that the normalness is what's throwing it off. I don't know. That's interesting. Because when I said it, I mean, I honestly drew it to emphasize that I didn't think it looked good, and yet it didn't look terrible to me. So, I don't know. I mean, there are no wrong answers in creature design. Well, you know, oh, thank you. Didn't notice it. You're right. Good call. 2 seconds. Let me get it back. This will take no time at all. Okay, let me wait for it. Thank you. I should have noticed, well, because I was looking down when it disappeared, so I didn't really notice it, but it'll come back in a second. Just waiting for it. And, interesting. Usually it does not ask that, so it must have really lost its connection there. Usually it does not ask me for the code again. Oh, okay, it just popped back up on mine. Let me hit OK here, and there we are. Good. Thank you. Well, I mean, look. People can find things scary for any reason that they do. It's, you know, fear comes from so many different avenues, and I don't think we always understand why things make us afraid. For all you know, that maybe when you were very, very young, before you even have a memory of it, there was like a slug on your face. I don't know. And all you could see was this slimy thing that looked like it was a huge consuming maw. And in fact, it was probably just a little, I'm making the scenario up. I don't know if this is true. But, you know, it could have just been a little slug. That, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want a slug crawling across my face, particularly. But I wouldn't exactly, as an adult, I'd be more grossed out. I wouldn't really be afraid of it. But as a child, everything looks big and scary. So maybe it was something with that. Or something else that you just don't realize. It's hard to say. People are afraid of lots of different things for lots of different reasons. Okay. So there's the sharp teeth. And I will also, while I am thinking about it, just because I don't just want to color this in. Not that it matters. And I may end up having it be an empty eye anyway, but yeah, I don't know. You know, it's the same way that lots of people are scared of clowns. Now, I don't really like clowns. I never, as a kid, had any, you know, clown parties or anything. Like, meaning that people, like my parents would get clowns or anything like that. I never had any, but I'm not particularly afraid of them, but I know people who are deathly afraid of them. And I don't know that they know why either. Maybe they just had one bad experience with one. It's hard to say. Like I said, we don't always, you know, I'm going to start with the main teeth and go out. So let's just go ahead. Now I'm going past the lip line here. I'm aware of that. But it's hard to say why we're afraid of the things we're afraid of. This does look very colorful. No, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I've wanted to draw one of these things for a while. You know, but I have the same problem that many artists do. I look at it and I'm like, the Beholder's been drawn and illustrated by a lot of different people. Far better than I'm ever going to do it. And so I'm just like, what am I going to add to it? But it's not a good, that's not a healthy way to look at artwork. You create the things you create and you don't worry about it. Very easy for me to say that. You know, it's a whole, okay, you know what? I do want to kind of do something with, yeah, there. I want the teeth to be that even. You know, it's easy to tell people, oh, don't do that. And then, you know, the old do as I say, not as I do problem. Put a little bit of space between. All these teeth shouldn't be perfectly lined up. It's not like a monster's going to have good hygiene, generally. I mean, maybe it does, but I doubt it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's just do some jaggies here. Okay. All right, let's see. That's true. Yeah, no, you're right about that. It does make it easier. Okay, there we go. Let's just erase these so I can get a clean look at this. I mean, unless you are going for a very particular look, you don't have to do straight teeth, you're right. Unless you're doing something like, you know, like say the mask, that comic book mask where the teeth are very specifically straight because it's a particular look. Or, you know, there are artists who tend to make very perfect straight teeth. The guy who did Evil Ernie, I think, always did really straight teeth for all of his characters. Probably because he didn't like drawing teeth. So it's easy to just be able to do a straight set of teeth. You know? Yeah, you know, I don't know that I really prefer one or the other. Which it doesn't have to be one or the other. I could do two versions. So I'm probably just going to leave both. Yeah. I don't really, I don't have any particular preference on one or the other. Let's clean some of this up. Well, I mean, that's very common. But the reality is, I'll just be honest with you. Yeah, you could. You could learn to do it. You can, anybody can learn to draw. Now, the thing is, like most things, if you don't have any passion for it, though, you'll probably only be able to essentially replicate a few things, you know, if you don't want to draw. But most people can draw better than they think. It's just, it's a skill. And most, you know, it's... Oh, okay. Well, see, all right. So that's what I was going to say, is usually people have some kind of aptitude for certain things. And that's okay. Look, supported drawings are fine. There's this idea that, and I can't do this, like, this is pretty rare, what you're looking at here, as far as I'm not looking at any kind of reference photo, because honestly it's just a bunch of circles. You know, it's like anybody can actually draw a Mickey Mouse. Here, I'll show you how. Ready? Circle, circle, circle. Okay, well, I proportioned those wrong. Circle, circle, right? Nose, eyes, and a smile. I mean, that's basically, it's not, you know. Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, there are things I do horribly freehand. Trust me when I tell you. This is pretty easy because it's mostly orbs. And Procreate is assisting me. Because I could not draw these circles this straight without an app helping me. So I'm not even going to pretend that that's not the case. It's absolutely the case. That without Procreate, I would not be making these circles as straight as they are. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, that's okay. People have lots of different skills. Lots of different skills. And like I said, I think most people could probably learn to draw fairly well. But it is, you know, it's not always easy. Actually, I'll tell you, I've said this on other streams, and it remains... Krita. I haven't heard of that one. The truth about, at least for me, for drawing, isn't the actual technical part, doing the drawings. It's the frustration of I can't get what's in my head onto the paper. That's what it is. I mean, that's almost always what it is I've got this idea, and I know that I just cannot draw it the way I'm seeing in my head, because there are details in my head I'm never going to get out. Never. That's the most challenging thing, is to be able to say, okay, well, I know I'm not going to be able to get it all out, so I just have to be okay with as much as I can get. Yeah, well, that's very common. And it is that whole idea of there's a point where you just have to try to, because I'm not going to make it sound like it's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. Trust me when I tell you, it's not easy. But the idea is to try to be happy with something, right? Is to get it and get it as close as you can. It's not easy. It isn't. It's, you know, oh, here, I'll give you a direct example. Like the Shodan thing, which I don't know if you were here when I showed it. Like this. That face, that's not what's in my head for this image. It's not. I tried a couple variations. I couldn't ever get it the way that I can picture it in my head. But the reality is, this came out better than I really thought it would at first. I kind of didn't expect to ever even finish this one. Because, man, doing all these lines is really annoying. So, it's one of those things where did I put that other image? Oh, crap, I lost it. There it is. You know, the important part is just to get out something that you can live with. And then you try to refine and improve it as you go along. That's another thing. And that's why I like digital so much, is because if I really hate this, if I get to some point in this and I just hit a wall with it, I'll just go away from it for a while and come back and just work on it. Or if I want to change something radically, like I'm looking right now, and I'll tell you what's bothering me is this right here. I do not like the positioning of that eye. Like the goop. Yeah, the goop thing is weird. Sometimes I do liquid stuff and I like it, and sometimes I really hate it. But I do not like that eye stalk. So that's going to have to move. It's going to have to move. Because I just don't like it. It doesn't feel weighted properly for where I want it to be. So I got to move that probably about there. Now I got to find that other circle. There it is. Move that like that. And I'm going to redraw that stalk because I don't like it. Just do not like it where it is. Yeah, that's got to go. That's got to go. And we'll redraw it. I just didn't like where that was positioned. Didn't notice it first. Once I did notice it, couldn't get away from it. So, let's do that. Yeah, not like that though. There we go. Whoop. There we go. I'll have to figure out how that's exactly going to come off, but that's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. Hold on a minute. Something just occurred to me. Don't know if this is exactly going to work, but we'll try it. Take that out. Is to have the actual, you know what, I'm going to do a separate layer for this. The folds of the eye become where this stalk comes from. Yeah, something like that. Or like the lid. Yeah. Okay, not like that. That doesn't look good at all. Yeah, I like that. Well, they're not detached. They're not detached, but I know that's what they look like. It's that I'm going to have a lot of black filled in. So they're going to be coming out of a gloomy background. So my idea is that almost all this area is going to be black. And then, so this will be the separation point, you know what I mean? It looks detached, but they won't be. They'll just look like they're emerging from the background. So in other words, that the physicality of the stalk is, let's say that this here is actually starting from back behind the eye and kind of looping up. You know what I mean? So it's going to be coming out of the shadow in the background. Right now, yes, it looks detached, but that's not the idea. And it won't look like, it won't be this jagged line either. That's just so I have the separation point. No, not another one. Here, I'll do a quick thing. This is so weird to do it like this. So let's say this is the beholder that we're looking at right now, because this is going to be the image, right? You're going to have some stalks that are coming off it, and this is the frame. In the frame, it's going to be mostly black, like it's in a cave or something where you have very little light, right? And I don't know if this is really visible or not, but I hope this conveys it, right? So these two stalks here, the one on that side and the one on that side, imagine that those are, for example, this stalk here is one of them, and there'll be another one on the other side. Now, the ones that look detached, those, give me a second, those will actually emerge from the background like this. So they're still, well, okay, the spacing's terrible on that, but they'll be coming out of the shadow from the back. So they're not really detached, they're just coming out from the background, which I know it's tough to It's not great because I'm doing it like this, but, you know, so these will be like they're fading off into the shadow, which is the blue area, essentially. You know what I mean? So it's not another beholder, it's just the rear stalks. So this is, imagine, now this is going to be the beholder from the side. So here's the eye, right? And you have the stalks are going to be in the front. And then these, God, I'm explaining this so badly. The ones that are detached are actually coming from back here. But in the darkness, this part's covered up, so you're not seeing that part. And this darkness here, is what's right there. So it's going to... Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes. So almost like a 3D... Yeah, exactly. You've got it. Yeah. Well, good. I actually managed to explain that in a non-complete train wreck way. Yes, that's exactly it. It's a way to establish depth. So I'm just doing these hash marks as placeholders for, okay. Oh, thank you. Man, of course, one night where somebody shows up and is actually talking to me, it decides it wants to go crazy more than usual. Usually it only crashes once. Thanks. Hold on. It'll come back in a second. Hopefully without me. Okay, good. It should just come back this time. I think it'll just fade back in now. Yes, it did. Okay, so let me... Whoop. Yeah, I didn't have to do the code again. Yeah, so these are just placeholder marks until I do whatever I'm going to do to fade. Thank you. About the screen share thing. So yeah, you've got it. It's a three-dimensional space that I'm representing with that. So that's why those are there, so that I know it later. Okay, now, which layer was I on with that? That one. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, in the sketch form, it is confusing to look at. It's not the best way to represent it. It's just the only way I can think of it. Okay, so we'll take this, and we'll have this coming off like that, and then we'll do the top come off like that. So yeah, so those stalks are going to come off the eyes. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's better. And then I want to give the skin some kind of texture to it. You know, like almost like a rippling texture that gets darker as it goes further down. So something, and so this will all disappear. You won't see any of that. So actually what I should do is, let's see, because I'm going to make it kind of ripply. Like something like that. Again, this is just, you know what? No, don't do that. Okay, yeah, I got it. Sorry, I'm talking to myself now. I'm going to give it like a pitted kind of texture, like this creature's been zapped with, I don't know, lightning or something. And it's really modeled the skin out. Oh, I thought the screen share disappeared. I'm trying to pay attention now. So we'll do something like that. And then I need to have some kind of just baseline thing down here that'll separate it from the background. So I'll show you in a minute kind of what I'm going for. Because I think I can times it. Okay, got about 10 minutes left. I'm going to do on the stream. Yeah, good hour. Okay, that's what I usually like to do is an hour. That's about the point where I start getting sick of looking at what I'm doing. Okay, so if I go, let's just use this. Let's do another layer. I'm going to move this layer up. Okay, so just to give you a rough idea of what's going on here. Actually, I should make that bigger. Okay, that might be a little, that's going to be a little, be careful. Right? So imagine that this blue is in fact black. I should just use black. I'm just using blue because I'm just so used to having my sketch be in blue because that's a non-repro blue thing. Okay, so now let's drop that way down. There we go. So let's, where is airbrush? Okay. Again, just example. But now, of course, this is not how it's actually going to be, but something like that. See, and that's representing the darkness of the background. I got to be careful around that. I mean, this is, you know what? This airbrush is way too big. That's the problem. Jeez, really? The airbrush felt like it was way bigger than that. There we go. Something like that. Just a light. I don't do a lot of airbrushing, so you have to bear with me on this. I'm not really good at it. Clearly. But something like this, where it's just kind of fading it out of the background, and then this darkens out. And you know, I'm gonna erase some stuff in there, but pretty much like that. And that's completely behind that stalk, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. So I don't know how I'm gonna accomplish this in pen and ink, or you know, the equivalent of pen and ink, but I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. And then even down here, okay, jeez, that's huge. Let's use this. So even in here, it's going to be black. See, and then that matched with the background. Screen still on. Okay, good. All right. Hopefully this is making sense. I mean, I'm jumping around, I know, so I'm trying to convey the overall idea of it, so it doesn't seem confusing. Because I know I don't necessarily work in the clear. Whoa, no, that's okay. That's okay, right there. Okay, in the clearest way. So let me do that. There we are. Right. So okay. So a little bit more in here. So see, this is going to fade straight into that black background, or blue background in this case. And that will create some depth there. And this is where you'll see like the scarring and the rippling on the face. So if I do this, let me know if this is not making sense. I'm hoping it is the way I'm doing it, but oh, no, not there. But I don't actually know. I'm kind of winging it here. So, okay. All right, bring that around. Yeah, well, you know what the thing that what I'm going to attempt to do, or the idea of this is that you would be the person who's just spun around and this thing is behind you, right? So I want it to be implied that the lighting is right out of the frame. And the way I'm going to try to do something like that is using like hatch marks, like, okay, well, those are really friggin' huge. Jeez. Okay, hold on. Something like this that implies, okay, there's like shadowing going on, you know, and this will break it up. And the idea will be that you'll see that that you'll know there's a light source there. That's the idea. Now, it may not work, but I'm hoping that once it's all done, that becomes kind of what you get out of it. But I'm glad at least the concept makes sense. Because like I said, I know I'm explaining this on the fly as I'm doing it, which is not the best way. The best way would have been to have some kind of almost storyboarded. Oh, I saw it. I caught it that time. So hold on, let's see. I caught it. For once, I noticed it. It's being really bad tonight too, which is hysterical because usually it's been very good. So it's like, okay, yeah, somebody's watching, so let's make it. Let's just crash more and more often. But whatever. I shouldn't complain too much. At least it's not burning my CPU up the way. Yeah, I have yet to find something else that's quite as good as this, believe it or not. The other solutions, the way they work is they want to take over everything, which makes it very hard for me to see. It's just not ideal. I've messed around, or it's expensive for what I need it to do. So it's one of those things where right now, as far as I can tell, no. OBS is fine. It's not OBS. OBS is not crashing. I know that might be what it looks like. No, it's the Reflector software. So basically the software that's allowing me to project the iPad in a windowed form in the center like that. Because normally when you do the mirroring with the Mac, it takes over the whole screen, which means I wouldn't be seeing your chat stuff. I wouldn't be able to see what you're typing because it would just dominate the whole screen. So, I mean, I could do that and just hope nobody's saying anything, but I don't think that's really a great experience. So I have been using the Twitch streaming software itself that they put out, but that software, oh, that's unbelievable. I'm not kidding. I've never had it crash this much. Never. On OB, I've not had this many crashes since I left the Twitch software. And it's clear these are mini crashes, this one that's just happening here, because it's coming right back. I don't have to re-enter the passcode because it has like a security passcode that it generates when it does like a big crash. Yeah, look, I'm not going to complain too much because I don't make money off my streams. OBS is free. This software is the best one I've found to accomplish what I want to do with the iPad. So I'm not going to complain too much, but this is unusual. It normally does not crash this much. It really, I'm not kidding, because if it did, I would say it. It does not usually crash this much. So I don't know if, I don't know. I mean, there were no updates for it, so I don't think there's anything going on with it. But this is an unusual amount of crashing. I will say that it's usually not this bad. At least I don't remember it being this bad before. So this is a bit of an unusual situation. Let's get rid of those. Is that part of that? Yeah. That's okay. Whatever. I remember when even the idea of doing something like this would be impossible. So I am not going to complain about the fact that it's not optimal. Because, again, just to show my age, I grew up when even the concept of this was science fiction, of what I'm doing right now. The idea that you would have a laptop with this much power that's this thin and a tablet that can let me draw like this. Yeah, that was just, you'd laugh at that concept. So I'm not going to complain too much because it works well enough. It's just kind of dumb. Because there's no real identifiable cause for it that I can figure out. I don't think it's the CPU. The software is not indicating there's any problem. I'm not getting crash reports, that type of thing. So it's always preferable for me to have a reason why something's happening, but then every once in a while I just have to sit back and go, yeah, you're able to draw on an iPad. So, that lets me fix mistakes instantly and adjust things on the fly when I used to draw in a physical media pad where if I screwed something up late in whatever I was doing, it was screwed up. So, I'm not going to complain too much. I'm really not. But yes, it's a bit odd. And like I said, it's usually not this bad. Usually, I think the last couple streams that I've done, that I can think of, it's crashed maybe once. And look, it's stupid, but it's not horrible. But to crash, I think it's crashed 4 times in this stream. That is unusual, so I don't know. But no, I don't think it's an OBS problem. Because that's the only part of it that crashes. OBS keeps running, which it is. It's still running, and it's a low CPU utilization, so I don't think it's OBS. And plus, it crashed on the. Yeah, I would love to have one of those Surface Studio things, the big giant screen. Oh man, if I could get that thing. It's just too expensive. I mean, really, it's so expensive. But yeah, I've looked at the Surface Pro. I need to look at it again. Because I actually like the Surface Pro, but I haven't tried one in a few years. So I know there's a Windows event coming up. Windows is about to have Ignite or whatever their thing is called. And from what I understand, there is going to probably be some announcements for new Surface hardware. So based on that, I might. You know what? You say that, I might. Because next year, I'm going to start selling some of my Magic cards again. And I can use the money from that to get a Surface because, that will probably offset it. So I am going to look and see what they announce. I believe it's next week at Ignite and see what they come out with, because I do like the Surface form factor and I like the other ones I tried. I just kind of got used to working on the iPad, but that's not to say I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't use a Surface if it worked better, because it might. I'm what do you call it? I'm taping together a lot of parts to make this happen, and maybe that's part of what's going on. So maybe if I just had one machine that did everything, basically in one shot, it might work better. I don't know. It might. It would be worth at least taking a look. It's meant his work line so much. Yeah, that's okay. I have a separate rig for gaming. I have a gaming PC. I don't, for me anyway, that wouldn't be a problem. If it does the rest, like the artwork stuff, that's fine. So that, but yeah, I mean, laptops are, that's, unless you're going to get a dedicated laptop and understand that it's going to be pouring out enough heat to bake, bread on your desktop as you're using it, or your lap, which would be even worse, depending. Yeah, you're not going to do much on a laptop, not unless you're going to be doing retro gaming. That you can usually do pretty well. So if you like those games from the 80s, you'll run those all day and you'll never have a problem. But yeah, anything more recent is going to be a bit of a trick, if you can even do it, which not many can. But unless you, like I said, you get a dedicated one. There are those dedicated, like Republic of Gamer laptops, that type of stuff, or the Alienware ones. But oh yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and 2000 is probably, especially for a gaming laptop, that's a starting point. But yeah. No, I hear you. I until cloud gaming really takes off, if there's a point where you can do cloud gaming with no latency or minimum latency, then that would change a lot of things. But I don't think we're anywhere near where they seem to think we are with that. I mean, they keep talking about it, but you look at Stadia and other stuff, it's just not there. There's still not enough network persistence, and there's still too much latency. But cloud gaming, because I know a lot of people hate it, because they're like, oh, and I'm a person, I buy physical games, so I understand. I'm not in a rush to go all digital, but at the same time, not everybody can afford the hardware to be able to run games, and cloud gaming could actually solve that. It could allow people to buy a machine that really just has to have a good connection to the internet, and they would actually be able to play some of these really advanced games. Because it's like you could spend $1,000 on a graphics card. Forget even the machine. You're going to spend big money just to get a graphics card to run thing. I mean, I remember when Cyberpunk 2077 came out, and they were talking about the requirements for that thing to run at not even the max settings. It's insanity, man. Come on. I get it; it's a pretty game, but geez, who's going to and the thermals and the power you're going to eat up on that thing? It's That kind of instantly told me I wasn't going to be playing that game anytime soon, outside of its launch problems. But yeah, where are we at the time? Okay, yeah, I'm about where I want to stop because my hand's starting to cramp a bit. But you know what? It looks good. This is kind of the idea that there's a lot of refinement to go, but this is the idea. Is okay. Yeah, see on the bottom how those the stalks are kind of coming out. So yeah. So probably the next one I'll start refining again. Start getting into it. Because I think this will work. I think it'll work. Especially once I can start doing the actual lines. I mean, this is very, very rough. But once I can start forming things in a little bit better, I think it's going to be... It's coming out kind of what my head wants it to be. I'm kind of getting what I see in my head. Or at least close. So that's a huge plus. May add some more little eyes in the background without the stalks. Just eyes back there in the darkness that are just kind of gleaming, but you can barely see, stuff like that. That might work. In fact, I'm going to just go ahead and, so I don't forget, I'm just going to put like little circles just so I remember that this was an idea. Oh, okay, it's too big. Let me go to here. Something like that where you're just seeing eyes in the background. You know what I mean? Something like that. That would work too. So that that there's more smaller stalks kind of lurking. Yeah. Let me do one more just so I understand that wasn't a mistake. Because I will forget. There we go. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah. Yep. Okay, well, that is going to do it for this stream, because it probably would have crashed again soon anyway. So probably better off stopping. I usually go for an hour anyway, so that's right about where I want to be. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this stream to a close. Hey, Gamer, thanks for stopping by, man, and talking. Because that was a good idea about the slime. And I don't know that I would have thought on that on my own. So I appreciate you stopping by and bearing with me through the little technical snafus where the thing kept crashing. Hopefully, also everything see on commercials looks good. It's not. Oh man, I know about. Yeah, Yeah, I know about how they dolly up food and that type of thing. Ugh, yeah, glue and like clear, what do you call it? Like acrylic. Ah, oh, gross. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and anybody who watches this later, thank you for coming by and watching it later. And yeah, we'll keep going on the Beholder in the next stream, I think, because I think it's going to work out. It seems to be working out so far. So on that note, if you can, go be creative in some way with the rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the stream, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.